Mhm. And
And
we're
it's
up. How about that?
live. Yes, we are live. Um,
It's a miraculous Monday, a
uh,
mellifluous Monday.
is it miraculous? What is
Well, we
what?
made it this far. The World Series is finally over. The baseball season has concluded in November,
November
and
2nd. Couldn't even finish it on November 1st. It was November 2nd.
it was
And
a good series. There's a
yes,
lot
it
of
was a
there's
grand
a,
series.
there's a lot of baseball played, a lot of hits, a lot of pitching, a
There
lot
was
of
something for everybody. If you're a baseball fan or you even have a casual interest in baseball, I mean, I know a lot of people. I'll take my sister, for example. She's not a baseball fan. She likes baseball. She goes to 5, 6 games a year, Giants games, and she after the second or third game was kind of glued to the TV set. And for the seventh game, I remember
you know,
I texted her before the 7 games. She said, "Don't call me during the game. I want to watch the game." And that's not usually what I get out of my sister, unless it's the Mets.
yeah.
So I was impressed. I think baseball did themselves good. Um, and then of course immediately shot themselves in the foot by coming out. Well, I don't know if they actually did it before, but by coming out with all this expansion talk. I mean, well, let the people enjoy the uh, the World Series. Before you make the money grab, let them settle down. Let them enjoy
Well,
the series.
do they have to have two teams to make it work right? Do they have to have one?
I think they have to have two.
So that's Portland, Oregon, and some unknown
Well,
town.
I don't think the Seattle Mariners are going to be. People have said, well, Vancouver, because baseball is so hot in Canada right now. It's the hottest thing in Canada. How long will that last? Who knows? But and there's a history of major league teams not doing well in Vancouver. Ask anybody that's a Grizzlies fan. Um, so it'd be interesting to see, but I don't know how the Seattle Mariners are going to allow a team in Portland. I mean, that's their territory. If they can put a team in Portland, then why the hell couldn't they put the A's in San Jose?
I thought that the A's in San Jose seemed to be a long shot from the get go, for a number of financial reasons. But San Jose is lesser city than Portland, I would say, in terms of representing its district.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think San Jose is um it's the second biggest city in California. It's the heart of Silicon Valley. There's tons of money down there. And even though firms have moved out of San Jose and Silicon Valley, it still retains its place, San Jose and Mountain, the whole area, as the hub of activity for everything, and it's kind of grabbing onto it more with all of this AI stuff that's going on, because that's the center of it. Um, I again, more than Portland. I mean, Portland. The perception of Portland is that it's a city that doesn't seem to. I mean, they got Nike, and they've got a lot of smaller internet businesses, but I don't know. I don't see Portland as a city on the rise. Now, again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I haven't done a deep study on it, but I would say that baseball would have been better off putting a team in San Jose than they would have putting a team in Las Vegas. Maybe, maybe the Las Vegas thing is gonna work out financially. I don't know how it's gonna work out for fans, but it'll work out financially. But again,
many Oakland Raider fans have said that the fact that the Raiders are in Vegas makes them not a Vegas team, but a team that's supported and enjoyed by people who are in Vegas for a vacation. They're there. They're not Raider fans. They're not A's fans. They're just Vegas fans. And while they're in town, they spend some money at the ballpark.
Right, and it's not hard for people to go from L.A. to Las Vegas to see a game if you still have, and I believe you still do have a lot of Raider fans in Los Angeles.
Absolutely, most certainly.
So it's not, it's not. What is it, about a 3-hour drive, right? Depending on traffic.
Yeah.
So it's not out of the question to get in the car on Sunday morning. Excuse me. And, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and drive out to Vegas. Have your breakfast.
See a day game.
One of the buffets that don't exist anymore. You better fill up when you're in Henderson. And then go to a game. Get back in the car that night. Either drive back or stay the night in Henderson.
Is the good buffet a thing of the past?
I think so, Michael. It's certainly in Las Vegas. It is. Now, I don't know about Henderson or about, State Line or some of those other places along the way. I would still think that.
Was it just a lost leader that they wanted to cut out of the?
Well, they still have buffets, but now they charge you $40 for the buffet or $50. And it's not it's not what it used to be. It used to be 99 cents for breakfast, $1.49 for lunch, and $4.99 for dinner. And it was every casino had it.
Yes, and some of them were quite good and had a great reputation.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think of which one I like. The Dunes was really good. The Dunes had a great buffet. And
some hotels had specials like seafood, but buffet.
Yeah. Different nights had different. You knew that Friday night was was lobster night over at the Sahara. So you could go there and probably it was probably a $2 surcharge for lobster, a $3 surcharge. But they weren't worried about the food. They were worried about getting you in there to gamble.
Get in this building and do something in here.
Right, because
take the money out of your pocket and put it on the table.
Right. We know that walking from the door to the buffet and the line for the buffet is always between two rows of slot machines. So you're standing there and ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. So now you're pulling your money out of your pocket. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
Of course.
So that $10.99 or $12.99 buffet with the lobster tails is now turned into a $75 buffet.
And you haven't even got to the line yet. You haven't got your napkin in your tray yet.
And you haven't dipped it in the butter yet. Yeah.
And you think you got a deal going. You think that this is a bargain.
You're like,
how did the hotel turn that into a bad idea?
I'm getting over on these guys. I'm getting a $10.99 steak dinner. And meanwhile, Cappy Dick, the pit boss, is just watching the numbers go jing, jing, ding, 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 ding on slot machines. And they'll put nickel or dime slots out there or quarter slots, so you can suck up all the change in your, if you put if you put the dollar slots there, well, you're going to have to go get change. But if you got the quarter slots, in Vegas, everybody's carrying around a pocket full of change. I mean, although I got to admit it, I couldn't go to the stop and go without losing $25. I mean,
it's the nature of the town.
Yeah, you go to the dry cleaners, you pop it. Every place has got slot machine, or used to. I don't know. See, I don't know about now because Vegas, and listen, Vegas has a problem because Vegas is not getting the amount of people that they used to get. The businesses in Vegas are hurting. There's a lot of people that are just not. It's $500 for a hotel room. I mean, $500 used to be the top of the Hilton. Now, this week they have the SEMA show going on there, so I'll be seeing a lot about Vegas. Specialty Manufacturers Association. And so there'll be a lot of stuff about Vegas. And those people aren't that affected because the people that are attending the SEMA show for the first 2 days are all in the press. And you know what happens with the press? How do you get the press to like you? Food.
Give them food.
Feed them food. Feed them food, and they'll follow you anywhere.
And be expecting for that food to just disappear at an amazing rate. Nobody can eat free food like the press.
I remember several times I went to the New York Auto Show, which is one of the big New York, LA, Chicago, are the big auto shows. And I would see people at the New York Auto Show show up with a bag, and they would take the food off the trays and slide it into their bag. Now, I don't know what the hell you do with tuna canopies, sitting in your bag. It must reek after a while, unless you're taking them outside and selling them or something.
Yeah, you better get right to it and just eat it. There's no point in
If you put
saving your
cookies or
food.
pastries or anything like that out of the tray, gone.
Gone.
Almost as bad as a radio station.
The funny thing about radio stations is if the announcement is made that there's pizza in the Jock Lounge, before the announcement is made, that pizza is mostly gone.
Yeah. There's a lot of people, I don't know. It must be something going on. I wish they could make an announcement for food, and all the people who are getting shorted on their SNAP benefits would be able to go to a radio station and pick up a slice of pizza because they're going to need that by the end of the month.
Well, we're going to see some changes in perception depending on the outcome of this election for tomorrow, for Virginia and New Jersey and California. It's going to be telling an interesting story that even the Republicans in their dotage and their lying sons of bitches that they are will have to see the truth that this spells the end for their Trump run in terms of national support, in terms of being able to read what the future looks like in the next couple of years. Now, if this election turns out to be unlike what we expect, in other words, if the Republicans go 50-50, we got a problem because it's never going to get better. But if they can read the writing on the election walls, and it's a clear victory for the Democrats based on their dissatisfaction with Trump and his Republican cohorts, then we're going to see some changes made, and people will leave the comfort of the feeling that sticking with Trump is going to always work out. Back Trump, stay silent, don't change your attitudes, don't change your vote, just stick with Trump. It's going to work that way. That concept, that perception that Trump is battle-proof will begin to disappear. And that's what we need to see for tomorrow's election.
Well, I saw something very interesting over the weekend. Did you happen to see Bill Maher
No.
Friday night?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene was one of his guests.
She's come around.
And I got to tell you, now, I don't know if it's an act. I don't know what it is because I really don't trust her. But she made more sense on Bill Maher's show on Friday night than any politician, Republican or Democrat, in the past year at least.
She's had a vision of how the world should be, and it's not like it was before.
Yeah, I don't know if it was her, if it's her constituents in her district telling her, you got this all wrong. This guy is killing us. I don't know I don't know what it is. I don't know if she had an awakening.
Well, didn't you ask her about that?
He never really did ask her about that. It was interesting. He never said, well, why is 6 months ago you're talking about Jewish space lasers and now, you're talking about this. And she says, well, it's time I think she said something like, it's time we went back to work for the people. That we're supposed to be working for the people, and instead it's just nothing but a turf war, a gang war.
It's actually nothing. The legislative branch of our entire government is in neutral. It doesn't do anything. It provides no service whatsoever. They don't vote on anything. They don't write bills. They don't vote on bills. They don't go to work. They've been in. Today's the 33rd day of the shutdown. That's the length of time that the Republicans have done nothing. They're on the edge of they've played this too as far as it can go. There's no moves left to them. They have to capitulate, and that's what's so hard for them to face. That this shutdown of the government, hand in hand with the fact that the Congress hadn't done anything since taking office during the second Trump administration, and it's got them in a position where they played their hand to, as far as I can, taking into consideration that they're not doing anything. How long can you do nothing and guise it as government, as guise it as governance, as guise it as law passing?
And I think that she addressed some of that. I think she said that she was talking along the lines of she was really, really down on Mike Johnson, said that he was an ineffectual leader, and that I just think that it shocked me.
Well,
it shocked me that I was
people like Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson would be willing to say, whatever Trump wants is what he gets. I will serve him in any way that I can. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is not going to, apparently no longer willing to say that.
I wonder if there was two things I wondered about after the interview. The first thing I wondered about is she getting ready to run for president. And she feels by moving over to the middle, it's going to be more palatable to a wider bunch of people. And if she can affect some kind of change in the next 2.5 years, will that push her? And I thought that was one of the thoughts that came to my mind. And
I think she's got a hard road to hoe there as a presidential candidate.
Yeah. Oh no, I think she would too. I'm not saying I would support her or vote for her or anything like that. But if you are watching that, you kind of got the feeling. I suggest you go on YouTube and it's on YouTube for free. Anybody that wants to look for it, and I suggest that you look at this interview, and because I was shocked, And my second thought was, is she going to be able to bring enough Republicans with her over to the center? If she truly is, and this is not just bullshit, if she truly is making a move toward the center, if she's seen the light, she doesn't have to become a liberal.
And
Nobody's
she hasn't
saying
paid a price for this. The reason Mike Johnson is such a weasel is because he's in fear of Donald Trump. Marjorie
Right.
Taylor Greene has gotten past that part. Will she
Right, she's not-
survive? Will she survive that? Can she take that position and live as a politician?
she's not. It appears, and again, you don't know the whole story or half the story, really, but it appears that she has not or does not have a fear of retribution from Donald Trump. Maybe she thinks that her star is just as bright as his right now.
And will he do his usual thing of sending a candidate financed by him to war against her in the next election?
I think she'd be tough to beat, Michael. I think in her district, she would be tough to beat.
But Trump's idea is he can bring anybody in, anybody from any department or some other.
Well, maybe he could bring Herschel Walker in again.
Good point. That's it. That's exactly the type of candidate that he would choose.
Right. That's exactly who he's going to find, somebody like Herschel Walker or Tommy Tuberville or somebody along those lines, an athlete or somebody who's got some kind of star power. And that's what he would do. That's how he would primary her. And I don't know if she would be strong enough in her district. Something tells me that she probably would be able to weather the storm in her district.
Did he ask her about her fear of this being the end of her career?
Not directly, but he asked her a similar question. She just said it was time for her to come to get, to serve the people. That seemed to be what her, now maybe she grew up, maybe she realized that the space lasers and all the showmanship that she puts on wasn't really doing her any good. It was making her a national joke. But she seemed to be, it was interesting. She was talking about health care and health insurance. And she said how several years ago, her health insurance for her kids and her went up from, $300 or $400 a month to like, $1,800 or $1,900 a month. And she came across as, it just reminded me of, I'm trying to put myself out there as somebody who understands what the average person is going through. And she's got enough time to pull it off. I mean, she's got a year till she runs for re-election. I think she probably has enough. And again, the thing you got to wonder about is this real? Or is this, fantasy? Is she lying in the weeds? And they're basically telling her, go out there and move over to the center and let's see what happens. That they know that they've gone a little too far from where they're supposed to be.
I don't think she's taking the advice of a campaign manager. I think she came up with this on her own, and I don't know how. I don't know where she began the separation, because she hangs with the true believers and was one herself. What was it that brought her to a more reasonable position? And how did she get the courage to maintain it for day after day? Because for a fact that Mike Johnson and Trump are asking her for her vote, her commitment to their plans. They have to have, with the small majority, they have to have all their votes counted, and they have to have commitments from their constituents. And she's not playing that game anymore. She's playing a dangerous game. They can't count on her vote.
Right. If she flips over to the other side, they're in real trouble because she's taking people with her.
You would think that that would eventually happen.
She's taking people with her. And, there are certain people who, will see her and say, I'm going to latch on to this train because at least I'm not doing it alone. Nobody likes to act alone, but when people get in gangs, they start to get a little braver.
Much, much braver.
Yeah, they start to get a little more nerve in doing stuff. So if she gets a couple of Republicans that are on that line of I want to go against Trump, but I don't want to do it alone.
And I'm here in the red South.
And I'm here
where that point of view is not always going to be welcomed by the voters.
Right. But if I have a number of people and maybe, the safety in numbers, maybe that's what's going on here. I still don't trust it, but I'm willing to certainly. It's caught my attention. It's caught my eye. I mean, not that I matter, but I do think it's interesting to see that Trump is losing support, and people are, previously on the Trump presidency, people would not, they'd speak out maybe against him a little bit in private, but in public, it was, it was love you.
Yeah.
Now, maybe that's switching a little bit. Maybe this is the ray of hope that people have been looking for. It'll be interesting to see.
The Republicans are going to have to figure out where their votes are going to come from. And if they're alienating the Republican family of four whose health benefits are increasing incredibly, if they're alienating the Trump voter that is convinced that he's going to turn the economy around with these tariffs, if he watches the American farmer abandon the support that they've had for him because of the tariffs, and just the trade agreement with China is enough to piss him off. If you can't sell soybeans out of the Midwest, you've got a real problem. And Trump has eroded that support. He's taken it apart piece by piece. He's done it in a mean fashion that he does not apologize for, doesn't seem to understand that it's wrong. And this is going to be good for the people who run against the Republicans, but it's not going to be good for the country in the meantime, who are taking these hits that were unnecessary to their business, to their industry, and to their futures.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of people who are, that are upset about, this Argentina thing has really pissed people off on both sides, Republican, Democrat, you name it.
Just like the ballroom.
Yeah. The ballroom is interesting because the ballroom, is a real visual sign. It's a tangible. The average person is not going to see the tariffs. Yeah, maybe they'll feel them when they go to buy something. But if you're not buying a car, if you're not buying a lot of, it's there. You're already used to inflation. So it's not, you'll sit there and you'll complain about the $4 quart of milk or the $2.50 avocado.
Or the $55,000 base price for all American cars.
But
Used to cost 35. Now it's 65.
Well, you know, see that's not, the tariffs have something to do with that, but that's also the greed of the U.S. automakers. That's the greed of U.S. automakers and dealers saying that we're not going to build base models of cars. We're going to build cars with packages that are going to get people, and we're going to get people to buy those cars at a higher price that they can afford. And how we'll do that is we'll extend the terms on loans. We'll give them 84 months to pay. And then we got them captive. So that's, while the tariffs figure into it to a degree, that's also a function of the automakers. I was looking at some Tacoma pickups this weekend, and you can go to a store, a dealer, and you can buy a stripped down Tacoma pickup without leather seats and without, like, what a pickup is supposed to be. A somewhat utilitarian truck. You can buy that truck for under $40,000. Base price on that truck is $40,000. It's when you start adding the packages on that you get into that higher transaction price. But if you go to the dealer and you say, I want to order a stripped down, I want a base model Toyota Tacoma pickup. I don't want I don't want all the fancy wheels, and I want steel wheels. I don't want the fancy suspension. I just want the base suspension. I don't want all of that stuff.
Maybe I don't even want. Maybe I don't even want. The dealer going to tell you that they don't. The dealer tell you that they don't even have that offer.
No, they'll tell you that they'll order it for you. That they'll go ahead and they'll order it, and then it'll take 10 weeks to get it, or 6 weeks to get it, or 8 weeks to get it, or however many weeks it takes to get it for them to build it. But the factory isn't putting out many of those because people will snap those up. But people they're not going for the $85,000 pickup trucks anymore. That's why Ram is in such trouble, because people are walking into the dealers and saying no.
The prices are extraordinary.
They're too high. And that's what people have to do. They have to turn around and they have to say, I'm not buying. See, the problem is too, and I'm talking of cars because I know about cars and I know how this goes. They're going into a dealer and the dealer is saying to them, we'll give you 84 months to pay this off. And we'll get your payment down to, $500 a month. And that's what people are paying attention to. They're paying attention to the monthly payment. And it's the worst thing in the world because you're still paying the price of that truck and the interest over 84 months. And that's ridiculous. A car loan shouldn't be more than 3 or 4 years. I mean, it's almost like you're getting a mortgage on a house.
Yes.
So people have to stop and say, I'm not buying this. You got the packages on the trucks?
I think that's already taken place.
Well, I hope so. Because part of the problem has been that people go in and they buy what's on the dealer's floor. And if they say no, you'll see the prices come down. all of a sudden the factories will be going, well, what do we got to do? Where you see it right now is with electric cars and electric trucks. You have like a Hyundai Ioniq 5. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 went from a $50,000 car. Now it's a $38,000 car. Why? Because nobody was buying them at $50,000. Even with
hard time to introduce a new product too.
Well, that's a car that's been around for a couple of years, but people were looking at it and saying, "Well, wait a minute. Even if it's a great car, and the Koreans make really good electric cars. They're the best at it, but they're not gonna. But if you go in and you buy a car for what the dealer asked for, of course they're gonna stick it to you. But
how could you do it?
People stopped buying them at that price, so now all of a sudden the price is down. The factory's eating a lot of money on these cars, and they'll continue. The new Chevy that's coming out, the Bolt, is going to be about $37,000 with a pretty good suite of equipment on it. Because people weren't, when they were 42 and 43,000, 44,000, people stopped buying them. People said, this is a $35,000 car. Now, you had COVID, so that, gave people a little bit more money in their pocket, but you don't have COVID anymore. So people are going to, if they can, they're going to shop them more. And I think that's what has to happen with other things in our economy too.
But with so much of the assembly of American cars tied to their Canadian neighbors, where the tariff is still unresolved, that price is not fixed yet. The negotiation is not concluded. The concept of so much Canadian parts and participation in the assembly of the average car has not been figured into the final price, the dealer price, the future price of American cars, because we can't seem to get a deal with Canada without pulling the plug on the negotiations and getting ourselves into get our knickers in a twist over.
Right. We don't know.
We don't know what the price is going to be.
Well, you don't know.
Right.
So hopefully this is going to get straightened out. I fear it's not going to get straightened out, though, as long as we have this president.
No, because he changes everything at the last minute, willy-nilly. He changes it without negotiating with anybody or notifying anybody. He just does it. And the fearful people around him just say, do what he says. Don't get in his way. Take my advice. Don't fight him on this one.
Well, he made a blunder this weekend, or actually earlier. I don't know if it was this weekend. Maybe it might have been Thursday or Friday. But he made a remark, a tweet or whatever, that I think is going to be, could be the unraveling of him in more ways than one. And it's interesting. What he said is that he wants to restart nuclear testing.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about you, but there are many people who remember what that was like. There's many people that remember that how accelerated it got when all of this nuclear stuff was going on, and how we lived when all of this nuclear stuff was going on with bomb shelters.
And there was only one place to test it, and that was within sight of Las Vegas. In other words, you're down at the MGM Grand and you can watch the mushroom cloud go up 20 miles away.
Yeah. And I
That ain't
don't
gonna
know.
work.
I don't know that I think that's one. I mean, you haven't seen a rush of people to say, "Wow, that's a." Usually when he comes up with a harebrained idea, he's got 5 or 10 Republicans to stand behind him and say, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea, Mr. President."
Let's just
Well,
blow the nukes.
I haven't seen that with this, and because people, I think, still equate nuclear testing, with nuclear war. And who the hell wants nuclear war? I mean,
Donnie from
even Putin
Queens.
doesn't. I mean, he'll bluster and he'll say that he's going to use nukes, but is he going to use them? Is he going to start what could possibly be the end of the world?
Donnie from Queens would.
Well, you wonder what's. See, this is where I think this guy is infirm. I think he's nuts. I think there's something wrong with him because he's been quoted so many times as saying, I don't like war. I don't want to start any wars. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that.
But in a pinch.
But if I got to start a little war to detract people's attention from what's going on, what I'm doing, maybe I'll do it.
Yeah, just a small one.
Sure, I'll pick on Venezuela.
They've got cigarette boats that they don't need.
Yeah, they got a couple old PT boats that they're using. We don't even know what they're using them for, but we'll blow them out of the water anyway.
We'll ask questions later.
Except, I guess this time there's a survivor on one of the boats, so maybe we'll find out if they were carrying drugs or not.
They're bringing gold relief to Washington, D.C. for use in the ballroom.
It breaks my heart. It breaks my. And I saw the stupidest remark too on maybe it was Facebook this weekend. I forget, one of the social medias that I was perusing. It basically said, well, he didn't really touch the White House with the renovations.
Just the East Wing in its entirety.
Yeah, I mean, have you looked at it? Have you looked at a third of the building torn off?
It's fascinating that there are people willing to carry water for him, even in a ridiculous statement like that. They're willing to defend him where he needs such defense, where he needs a complete explanation, where there's no way that his actions appear to be sane. Someone stands up and says, well, he didn't touch the White House.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Yeah, no, he didn't touch it. The bulldozer did. He wouldn't have the nerve to get up into a bulldozer and knock it down. His days of climbing into machines are over.
And the guys that are doing the work aren't going to get paid anyway. We know that.
Yeah, really. They're going to find out how good the president's word is. We were talking about elections before, and you have the big one in New York tomorrow. Cuomo, Mondami, and Sliwa. And many reports are saying that Mondami is ahead. He's getting endorsements all over the place from Democrats, including Barack Obama. It's going to be an interesting one because I think a lot of New Yorkers are going to hold their nose and vote for Cuomo. I don't know.
Haven't they had a career Cuomo? Haven't they had enough Cuomo?
Well, yeah, but there's a fear around Mondami. There's a fear
There's a
that he's
perception
going to
of fear.
turn New York City into Berkeley. But it's interesting in that many of the hardline Democrats, the old school Democrats, Kathy Hochul and as I said, Obama, and a lot of the Democrats are endorsing him. Schumer has not endorsed him yet, and probably won't. He'll probably just sit this one out. But the groundswell in New York among the conservative side is to go with Cuomo, that at least he's not going to sell the city out. Now, I don't know what Mondami's ultimate vision for the city is. It seems to be
the simple message is to make it livable.
Right, to make it livable, to make it livable for the middle class, to bring the middle class back and up in the city. And by doing that, it means price controls, rent controls. It means
it's great for Queens, but it'll never work in Manhattan.
Right. It's not going. Yeah. Not going to work in Manhattan. So it'll be fascinating to watch. I mean, is it going to have an effect on us out here? No. But it's going to say something about, I think, big cities. And a big city is going to be able to institute some kind of price controls. Are people going to want that? Are they going to vote for that? I think it's a fascinating, if nothing else, it's a fascinating sociological lesson.
New York's the only city that's ever done rent control and made it work. They don't have rent control in Cleveland. They don't have rent control in Detroit. They don't have rent control in LA. Our rents just went up. Our rent goes up in this apartment once a year. There's no way to stop them. There's no way to control it. There's no way to shut it down. And so they take advantage of it. It's just like the corporate pricing that's gotten everything too expensive, more expensive than it needs to be.
Well, that's in there lies where Mondami's wheelhouse is.
It's making it affordable.
Yeah, if he can put across the idea to people that voting for me is good for you because it's going to make your life better. The non-racist New Yorkers, there's a subset of New Yorkers that aren't going to vote for him no matter what. He's a Muslim, and they're just not going to vote for him. They equate Muslim with World Trade Center. And the same.
It's not much of a vision, and it doesn't explain why he's so popular and leads in all the polls.
Right.
You can say that there are people who aren't going to vote for him, but that's true of me. That's true of you. That's true of any candidate. Who is going to vote for him, and why are they going to vote for him, and in what numbers are they going to vote for him? And that's why Cuomo can't beat him.
The young people are going to vote for him. I think youngsters that, to them, 9/11 was before they were born. People who are really struggling to make ends meet in New York. People who have
see a light at the end of the tunnel here.
Yeah, that people who are saying I've had enough. Apartment dwellers who want to institute a stronger rent control.
Does Washington State have any election going on?
We've got let's see. The only statewide thing is there's a proposition on the ballot to fund long-term care. So that if you, there's a state fund to take care of people that need long-term care.
Mm-hmm.
And we are supposed to vote on whether that it should be extended and made untouchable, so
Vinny,
that
I'm
they
going to have to
can't.
say goodbye here.
All right.
I got a situation that I have to handle.
All right. I will
Uh,
see you on Wednesday, man. You take care of yourself, and I'll see if the
you,
Lord's will and the creek don't rise, Michael.
I'll see you then, Ben. What a
All right.
wine.
Take care. All right. Michael is going to leave, and I'm going to just say goodbye as well. A couple of minutes early, but that's okay. Do me a favor, though. Even though it is not a big election year here in Washington, it's a big election year in a lot of other places. It's a big election year in that there are things in ballots in many states, in many places, that need to be addressed. And you know what? It's good practice to vote for next year, because next year will be a big one. Next year, our lives will be in our hands. So if you got your ballot, vote. If you didn't get your ballot, go down and get one and vote. I say it every year. I believe it wholeheartedly that the best thing you can do for this democracy, if you want to save democracy, is go out and vote. Because if you don't, it's closer now than ever of being taken away from you. So even though it seems like an inconsequential election, even though it seems like there aren't many people that are running for anything that you care about, I mean, who gives a damn about the council people in Edmonds or the mayor of Seattle? Well, the mayor of Seattle's an interesting one. That's a toss-up, and I don't know. A lot of people I know are liking Harrell, liking Bruce Harrell. I don't know enough about his competition to say whether I like her or don't like her. And I don't live in the city of Seattle, so I can't vote there. But I do believe that these minor offices like judges and stuff like that does matter at this time. And so it's important for you to go out and vote. I've got my ballot sitting right here. And I'm going to run down and mail it. Or not mail it, but drop it in the drop box. And I hope you'll join me and do the same. It's I think right now, take it as good practice for next year. Take it as good practice for what will shape up to be an extremely, extremely important election. Get yourself in the habit of voting on election day. It's going to mean something to you. It's going to mean something to your kids. It's going to mean something to your community. And your community needs you now to vote. So wherever you live, whatever your offices are, whatever your propositions are, take this ballot, fill it out, stick it in the drop box, and hope that this is tomorrow, election day, is the first step toward maybe getting back to some kind of, or getting to some kind of America where things can get done again. And I really suggest that you jump on YouTube and watch that Marjorie Taylor Greene interview. I think it was extremely interesting. Just for the fact is it was just a totally different Marjorie Taylor Greene. She came off as a human being. And I'm not saying that she's, I don't know that I'm not saying I'd vote for her, or that I even believe that it's sincere. but it's interesting. It's worth a watch if you are into politics at all. All right, that'll do it. We will see you on Wednesday. If the Lord's will and the creek don't rise. Thank you so much for listening and watching the show this Monday morning. And hope you had a good weekend with the Halloween stuff that was going on. Got a lot of comments on my pumpkin attire last week. And don't forget that we have drive time coming up on Saturday as well. We took the weekend off this week. We got a lot of stuff coming up for you next week, including some reports from SEMA, and which is the specialty manufacturers show. And don't forget that the auto show is coming up here in Seattle. I'll be there on the 15th. It's the 14th, 15th, and 16th over at the Lumen Field Exhibition Center. Tickets are available, and I'm looking forward to seeing you down there on Saturday the 15th. All right. You have a good week. Try to get something done this week. So that's what I'm going to do. And we'll catch you on Wednesday if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby. And as Michael would say, what a line. See you. Bye-bye.